Last time on Trials of Mana. Alright, here we go. The boss is the Silver Wolf. And Charlotte just took him out. I couldn't even land a single punch. Charlotte was on that shit.
Charlotte's...
Episode 40, Return of the Witch. Alright, we're back with some more Trials of Mana in the post-game. Alright, so we got all 3 of the orbs to unlock Class 4. Now back to Valsena. And we're going to go back to the library and speak with Grand Croix.
I really love those little houses, like the little Dutch houses.
Yeah?
Yeah. The little heart windows. They're just cute.
With the strength of Class 4, you may be able to defeat Anise the Witch. No, you must. Now that Anise has awakened, I do not know how or when she will begin.
That's what my library's gonna look like one day.
Do not delay.
Oh, yeah?
All those books.
I dig it. I love this, though. I don't know when Anise is going to strike. You called?
I could sense someone honing in on my presence, but I never expected you, Grand Croix. You pitiful mortals seek to defy me? How quaint.
I really like her voice actor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. From what I heard when you were playing.
I can tell she's having fun, which
Yeah.
is definitely a plus in this game, because some people are just like, oh, this is acting? And others are just like, I'll have fun with it. So she's part of the latter category. Kind of around like Gormand.
Yeah.
Like I can tell the voice actor is just having a ball. And like that's the advice that Charles Martinet gives to other voice actors. It's just like, just have fun with it. Just like, because follow your heart, that you're, for actors, like, even though you should study acting, study technique, realize that like you're like kids in a toy box and you get to like play and animate these characters. So just have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. The director will be like, that was good, or hey, do more of that.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't put a little piece of yourself in it, then the viewer is going to tell something's off.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now that
It's winter.
big old vortex in the sky, not that one, the dark one.
You know, the big vortex in the sky, not that one.
There's another vortex. There's the light vortex, which has the Sanctuary of Mana, and the dark vortex, which is the Anise's Stockade, I believe it's called.
I really wish Flammy's hair was different.
You really don't like that kind of like anime on the...
I wish it had like a mohawk or something more animalistic rather than like a full head of hair.
Yeah, she does look like she belongs in the Oron High School Host Club.
Yeah. Like Tamaki gets a pet dragon thing.
Okay.
That's what she looks like.
Because she looks pretty similar to that in the original as well. They were very faithful to the details, transferring them over. Flammy is actually a recurring creature in the Mana games, with slight differences in each.
Okay. The other one's a blonde.
All right, so here we are. Anise's Stockade.
This is cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the level itself. It goes on a while. This part takes a while. But I think my biggest issue, and like I'll get more into it as you actually see us acting on it, but I feel it's repetitive of the Mirage Palace.
Okay.
Because like I don't know if the other end games are similar to the Mirage Palace, but this area likes to recycle things.
I wonder if it would be like that for each of them then. That's what you were saying.
What do you mean?
Like, depending on who you're playing as, does it recycle the same, like, Mirage Palace for each of them, or does it change?
See, I'm not
Based
sure.
on who your lead character is.
I don't know if the post-game affects who your lead character is, because whereas Mirage Palace kind of focuses on, like, that particular story.
Yeah.
And then Dragon's Maw was kind of different. It was a complete dungeon. What was the Dark Majesty's final level like? Did you revisit a lot of areas, or?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Because Dragon's Maw was very much like its own dungeon. It had recurring bosses that we fought before, but they were all in the dungeon.
Okay.
So, like, it wasn't like a change of scenery. What's nice, though, is that Anise's Stockade cycles through multiple dungeon themes as well. So it's not just one dungeon theme throughout the entire area.
Okay.
Because, like, that could get a little annoying, hearing the same music. And that's really saying something, because the music of this game is a banger. Also, something I noticed, I don't know if it's because I updated Freya or not, but enemies turn into shellfishers now.
Turn into what?
See the little shellfish right there? It's a shellfish, but it's called a shellfish. Level 1, see right there in front of me?
Well, it's in
And I
a
kill it?
giant cloud of smoke, so...
You'll see it a couple times, because when Reese uses Freya, enemies in its line of fire will turn into shellfishes. That's my first cue, though. I saw 27 treasure chests. Oh, no.
Ah!
Well, there's one. Hopefully the other 26 are close nearby. Kid Draconis.
Quakebringer.
Uh-huh. You're gonna find a lot of strong versions of pretty much all the enemies in the game. A lot of enemies are gonna be showing up here. It's a gauntlet. It's different from a boss rush. It's just a gauntlet of, like, most of the enemies you've faced, just with, like, stronger versions.
Mm-hmm. Why are you tumbling?
It's an old Zelda technique I have where, like, you roll to travel faster. Because, like, you walk a little slow. So it's just like, maybe if I roll, I'll go faster. Every day I'm tumbling.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's a bad habit. Newer games got rid of it and gave you a stamina meter where he can run until the stamina depletes and he gets tired. So you gotta manage it.
Jesus. Just let the character freaking run, man.
Okay, so here we go. Anise's Stockade is a recycle of the 6 regions represented by each of the characters.
Okay.
So you have to go through all 6. You have to go through Duran's hometown, Angela's hometown, Charlotte's hometown, Reese's hometown,
Ugh.
Kevin's hometown, and Hawkeye's hometown.
Bruh.
Infested with monsters. This goes on for a while. But look, those enemies are called adversaries. Not these ones, these are Tremorkins. The big old bees.
I remember the adversaries.
Come on, you.
Talking on the phone yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I was saying how Milo zigzags like he's running away from a crocodile. And my friend didn't understand what I meant because she only heard that you would, like, zigzag if someone's, like, actively shooting at you.
Okay.
So I was like, well, maybe the crocodile has a firearm. I don't know. He could be a glockodile. And now I just want to, like, draw a little comic of a glockodile being chased by the investigator.
That's pretty funny. Would a glockodile have, like, a Glock for its snout?
I don't know. I don't know if he would be part weapon or if he would just have weapons.
Okay. So, like, an anthropomorphic crocodile.
I picture them being
Glocks.
like little cowboys.
That'd
Like
be
they would
cute.
stand on their back feet, but they would still have like the short little arms, you know?
Okay. Should that be one of the pun enemies that I draw up in my game?
A crocodile.
A glockodile?
Eat wood.
All right, well, I have a bunch of these, so might as well use them. It boosts my XP, and the other item boosts my gold that I earn in a specific amount of time. So I might as well use some of them, since this is a big-ass dungeon.
My Glockodile would wear alligator skin boots.
Well, all right, then. I guess we know who won against the Glockodile and the Investigator.
Nah, it's personal. Those boots used to be my sister.
All right. Ooh, what do we have here? Prime Slime and a Basilisk.
Those are not basilisks.
A basilisk can be whatever it wants so long as it petrifies. Harry Potter isn't even a basilisk. They've been noted numerous times that, like, that's not the proper representation of a basilisk. They're more of a combination between, like, a rooster and a lizard. But yeah, it's fantasy. You can do whatever you want.
I really like the crystal pillars.
Yeah, that's Anise's magic infecting each of the regions. You'll see it throughout. Also, for gameplay reasons, it blocks off some areas, so you have to take the long way.
Of course you do.
Take the long way home. And, like, these enemies are nothing to sneeze at either. They can kill you. They're pretty tough.
I mean, they're high level.
Yeah. We're at the same level, I think. Yeah, Kevin's at level 65. These enemies are at, like, 64. There's a Selfish right there. They're tiny, so it's hard to see them.
I'll have to look it up later.
Alrighty. Woof. Well, what's nice is there's no little cactus in Anise's stockade.
Aww.
So we won't be seeing any more little cacti. Say farewell. We got plenty of chests to gather.
Could you imagine how scared he would be?
He'd probably just be sitting on all these
It's so dark in
crystals
here.
being like, oh, hey, who turned out the lights?
I know. I'd be like, did I close my eyes?
What happened here?
I feel like Little Cactus would be friends with Olivia.
Yeah?
Yeah. She would try to hug him and go, ow. And he'd be like, I'm sorry.
Ow, I got pricked. Sorry about that. You should make it like a picture of Olivia, Little Cactus, Igniculus, and, like all the little cute
all of their like
companions.
companion characters that
Yeah.
I've become obsessed with.
What do these characters have in common?
They're all kind of stupid.
I mean, yeah. Is Fairy stupid?
No. But Fairy is not the companion character that I would draw from this one. It would be Little Cactus.
It would be Little Cactus?
He's
Okay.
just like, I'm on a cliff.
He's like, "Whee!" So they're a bunch of airheads.
Yeah.
The Basilisk are no joke. They can petrify you. And as we've seen throughout this playthrough, that can easily take you from victory to defeat.
Yeah. Obtain 3 chocolates.
Yep. Definitely need some of that for the battles ahead.
Oh.
I don't know why it still does that. It's just like, okay, that's fine, but it doesn't really affect the dungeon. That affects towns and events and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's also because Kevin is stronger at night.
Okay. That is true. So that'll help dispose of these guys quicker. Which is always a good thing. But yeah, this area is very much how not to do your post-game. Don't just throw every single area with high-level enemies and be like, here you go, this'll add 2 hours to your play time.
Yeah. It seems so far that's like what I've noticed with the after games and stuff, that it's literally like you're just going through all the same areas that are slightly different.
Yeah. A couple little tweaks, not entirely new areas.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I'd kind of rather see a new area.
So like DLC.
Well,
Because like sometimes DLC adds actual new areas.
Maybe not necessarily like a DLC, but just like, okay, you completed the game. Here's a fun new little area for after.
Okay.
Where you can kind of like flex all the skills and things that you got.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about New Game Plus, which is where you start the game over with all the abilities you've obtained? To kind of like have that feeling of overpower.
I don't know.
So like all the skills would carry over into like the start of a new fight.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I feel like part of the satisfaction is watching your character grow.
Mm-hmm. At least for me it is.
Yeah, so it's like if you've maxed out your levels and you just play through it again, like, it's kind of almost like, what's the point?
Okay, gotcha. So what would you say is a good way of replayability when designing a game? Like, what would make you be like, hey, I want to fire up another playthrough?
I would say kind of what they do here, where you could play as a different character.
Okay.
Because it's like, playing as Reese is way different than playing as Kevin.
Yeah. Especially because, like, again, with Angela, you have to think, okay, what spells do I use?
Yeah.
Whereas Kevin's like, punch it.
Yeah.
I just gotta punch this.
I think, like, having a team and, like, being able to play as different characters that have a different story that you would see new areas would definitely be, like, more interesting for replayability.
So what would make you revisit a one-player game like Child of Light or Link's Awakening?
I don't necessarily know that I would.
Okay. And that's fine.
Because it's like, I don't think every game has to have, like, 1,800 hours of playtime where you can play it over and over and over and over again. Like, sometimes it's just like, it's okay to just play it once and then go to a new game. Like, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, they still got your money.
Yeah. I mean, they are expensive.
So it's like, it's not like, Trials of Mana was more expensive than, another game because, you can play it 5 different ways. You know, there's a lot more replayability.
Then would you probably sell your games then? Instead of, like, collect them and keep them? Again, I'm just asking.
For me, probably, because I'm not really a collector. I don't really collect anything. Even when I'm done reading a book, I typically sell it.
Okay.
And then buy a new book. I have, of course, the things like my favorite books that I'll keep that I reread just because I love the stories.
Okay.
But I'm not expecting to find new things or different things when I reread it. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
Okay.
But I don't have the collector mentality.
Gotcha. Mine just kind of came as like a force of habit through the years. I just kept keeping them. Because like I had friends come over and it's just like, oh, want to try out this game? Check it out.
Yeah.
And like they'd play a file, my sister would play a file, my dad would play a file.
Well, it's also
like when I'd trade them in, I'd always just miss it when I didn't have it.
Well, like
wow, I should play Metroid Prime again. Oh, I don't have it.
Well, it's like sometimes too though, it's easier to play a game differently than like you can't read a book differently.
Right.
You know, once you read it, you read it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if you got lost or something, like playing this game and watching it essentially for the 3rd time, you pretty much know where you need to go.
Yeah.
Whereas like, so I think that adds, more replayability if the game is big enough that you can just go to different areas.
I also like replaying games like the first Castlevania to show growth. Like, sure, I still get my ass handed to me by, like, Death and Dracula.
Right.
But the first time I ever played it, I started getting my ass kicked as early as, like, level 2.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, okay, I'm more familiar with the game and, like, what it has in store.
Right.
There's still some challenges, but I perform better. And I suppose, like, years down the line, if I'd ever play the first Castlevania again, my aim would be, like, to do even better.
Right. Whereas, again, you can't really do that with a book.
Yeah, you can't read better.
Read better.
What are the major themes of the book so far?
See, and, like, that's something that you could do. And it's, like, I enjoy doing that with, like, classic literature and stuff. Is kind of, like, pulling it apart and seeing the themes and, like, how it evolves throughout the book and, you know, where it comes from in that time frame. But I don't do that with every single book I read. That's exhausting.
Yeah. I could get that.
Whereas, like, I read a book to escape reality. I don't want to pull it apart.
Yeah.
But it's also books... The books that I have, anyway, are not going to gain value, whereas your games will gain value as time goes on and stuff. You know, they'll become more valuable, whereas my books, they're not first editions, they're not signed copies, you know, so it's like they're not going to accrue any more money.
Gotcha. No, I was just curious, like, what would make you ever want to revisit a game down the line?
I think it's like if I enjoyed playing it.
Okay.
Like, I can see myself playing Link's Awakening again.
Okay.
Just because it was fun to play. But that doesn't mean that I want new things from the game.
Okay. So just like a trip down memory lane or something like that?
Yeah, just to like,
gotcha.
You know, say I play a game that's really freaking hard and I'm just like sad about it. I can go and replay Child of Light.
Yeah.
I can replay, you know, games that are fun.
Yeah. Because, like, I wait a while. Like, sometimes I do them back to back because I'm recording or something. But usually I wait a while to revisit a game. Like, I just started The Last Story.
Right.
I haven't played that game since it came out in 2011. So it's been well over a decade to where, like, I remember the game, but it's still somewhat fresh to me. It's like rewatching a movie.
Right.
Like, I rewatched Cinderella, and I don't remember half of it.
Right.
It's a lot better than I remember, actually.
Same.
Whereas Sleeping Beauty, I saw more recent. I still liked it. I have a bias towards it, but I mostly knew the movie. I just enjoyed watching it.
Right. So I think that's just the mentality of it is like...
But yeah, that's the similarity.
There is definitely a benefit to having the replayability like what Trials of Mana has, where it's like there are new areas and new abilities and new things based on what, you know, who's in your team and who's your lead character.
And new classes.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think every single game needs
shit,
that.
This guy takes a lot of health. 452 damage.
He just killed Reese.
I saw that. I brought her back. Screw you.
Would that make Reese a revenant?
I suppose so.
Reese is a lich.
That'd be an interesting mechanic if, like, your characters, like, die, and when you use, like, a revival or something like that, they're revenants or something, and they can't fully become human again.
That would be interesting. Like, if your character dies in battle and you bring them back, they have, like, new undead skills.
Actually, that sounds like Dark Souls, now that I think about it.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's the whole concept of Dark Souls, is that, like, you're not among the living, but neither are you dead. You're kind of, like, in between.
But is that from the start, or is it something that happens throughout the game? Because I still feel like it would be different
from the start, but I haven't played all of the Dark Souls
I feel like it would still be different if, like, you get to play the whole game, and it's like, unless you died in a battle, you aren't a revenant. Like, you would have to die in a battle and be brought back by one of your teammates.
Gotcha.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Going back to the earlier conversation, like, some people have replayability or reviewability differently. Like, I know so many people that'll be like, wow, I liked that movie so much, I went back and saw it again. Like, I saw it 3 times. People would be like in the theaters all the time. I saw Force Awakens 4 times. I'm like, really?
See, whereas, like, I just don't get that.
But, like, it's a thing. A lot of people do that.
I don't fully understand that. Like, I rewatch a lot of things. You know, I have a cycle of things that I binge watch in the background. But I'm not going to pay money to rewatch something. If that makes sense. Like,
oh, it makes sense.
People are like, oh, going to movies, say it's $10 to go see a movie. I saw that movie 4 times. I'm sorry. You just dropped $40 to rewatch a movie. Like, Wait for it to come out on DVD and just watch it that way. Like,
some people just love the theater experience that much.
Then see something new. I like, I just don't have the right mindset for it.
I don't either. I've only done it a total of twice, and that was because, like, I promised different people I'd see it with them. And, like, I wasn't able to do it at the same time.
No, I'm just kidding.
What the fuck are you referring to?
Go see Batman. Go see Spider-Man.
I didn't see Spider-Man. I didn't see Spider-Man or Batman.
Go see the Nicolas Cage movie.
What the hell did I see that you're so... No, really, what did I see?
Uncharted.
Oh, Uncharted. You didn't miss much.
I know. I just thought it'd be a neat video to do, like, since you've played the games and know the story versus someone that doesn't.
That's fair, yeah.
And you went and saw it without me.
Yes, I did. Oops.
Gross, Lester. Stop it.
And, like, we talked about the Nicolas Cage one. We got Sonic and... Oh, we didn't
really talk about the Nicolas Cage one. I was like, that looks really good. I think I'd like to see that. And you were like, yeah. And then a day later, you were like, I'm going to see it with Phil. You're not coming. Oh.
No.
Okay.
I had plans to see it with Phil before.
Oh, you didn't say that before.
And then, like, you were just like, oh, that looks really good. I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing it with Phil. And then I was like, later, I was just like, oh, yeah, it's just me and Phil.
So I'll just sit at home and not see the movie because I don't have friends.
It makes me feel bad when you say it like that.
Yeah, I just don't have the mindset of let's go to the movies 4 times and see the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a waste.
Well, again, I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
It's not coming out.
Because I mean, like, I rewatch movies all the time. Like, I can put on Fight Club and watch it, you know, for a few days in a row, and just be fine. But I'm not paying to rewatch it, and I don't pay attention fully the whole movie every single time.
Right. You only really do that when we're, like, watching movies together, or if it's, like, a movie that you're introducing me to.
Yeah. If I'm seeing it for the first time, or if I'm like, hey, let's watch this movie, then I'll pay attention the whole time. But
other times you're, like, knitting. Or,
yeah.
Like me, you're on your phone. Or you just have it on your phone, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I know right away whenever you've checked out, because you just go on your phone, and I'm like, all right,
There's 2 differences.
Well, let's turn it off.
One, if I'm just surfing for the sake of surfing, that means I'm bored. But the other time, I'm looking up actors. Because it bothers me, and I can't focus on the movie. I'm just like, who is this guy?
I know, but then
I've
you,
seen
like,
him
spiral
before.
downwards, and you miss part of the movie, and I'm just like, well, okay.
That's a bad habit that, like, again, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I'll fixate, and I'll be like, where have I heard this voice before, or where have I seen this guy? And my mind is no longer focusing on the movie and what's happening to the plot or anything like that. It's trying to recount the movies that I've seen where this voice appeared. So, like, I did that for Oron High School Host Club, because I'm just like,
yeah, and then you did that for an entire episode. You were on the phone scrolling through voices instead of watching the episode.
I forgot what episode that was.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
And I really like Oron High School Host Club.
Dark Assassin.
Uh-huh. Dark Assassin, Dark Wizard, Dark Magician. Nope, can't have you. You're
Get
from
outta here.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't use any of that?
Blue-eyed white dragon.
Oh, wow, you know that reference.
That's probably the only reference I know.
I know Blue-Eyed White Dragon. No, wait, Blue-Eyed White Dragon. Red-Eyed Black Dragon.
Yeah, that
Dark
was like
Magician. Celtic Guardian? That sounds about right.
You got me.
And
Elon.
Exodia. Those are the only names that really, like, pop out. And I wasn't a big Yu-Gi-Oh guy.
Okay.
Like, to this day, Yu-Gi-Oh went down in popularity. All right, folks, next part, more of this.